Minister for Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, says there's inadequate gas in the country's energy reserves for electricity generation. There was a cut in gas supply recently due to debts owed the West African Gas Pipeline Company, plunging parts of the country into total darkness. At a media briefing this morning, the energy minister revealed the situation is as a result of over-reliance on the gas thermal plants. This, he says, differs from when power generation was supported by liquid fuel. Dr. Opoku-Prempeh emphasized the availability of power in the country will now be determined by the timeliness in the payment for gas supply by the West African Gas Pipeline Company.
And that was one of the first places I visited as an energy minister. Our congested network, some of them were 1950s and 40s and 60s. And there's a huge program to improve and consolidate and stabilize our grid systems. Because if you can generate as much as you want, if you cannot wheel it across where it is needed efficiently and reliably, you get the problem. And we're getting more problems because we're producing much and we're not wheeling at least efficiently across the country. Our grid was very, very unstable. And because we are on a system such that when one side trips, you get a blackout in the country. Now we are facing a double whammy. Now we have put everybody on gas. As soon as the gas inlets shut, then all the power systems that we have, or generation systems, go off. So that is why if people see lights out when they go out now, it is more extensive than previously, because previously the liquid fuels were in the various thermal plants scattered around, right? So if one thermal plant goes on, the other liquid fuel thermal plants would also be firing. But now we link all these plants with one pipeline supplying gas. It's not like the cylinders in our house. So it goes through the tubes and goes around. So once you have a major cut at one end, the devastation is horrendous. And we don't have enough gas for our generation as we speak. We don't have enough gas. Because we are so much dependent upon somebody providing you the gas, and the gas wants you to pay, we are the beck and call of the West Africa Gas Pipeline. If you don't give them their money on time, they cut you. Or they restrict your ability to even put your own gas through the system.
Dr. Opoku-Prempeh, however, adds, despite these challenges, government has been able to manage the power situation in the country better than the NDC government.
And that is where we want to structure. So we have reduced the bounce within the PURC range, and we've gotten a lot of kudos with the industry because they thought we couldn't ever do that, but we have done it. See, and another for this government, things that people think are improbable happen. But we still suffer from high losses, both technical and commercial, and the duration and frequency of power outages are very, very minimal. Like I said, it is now ensued Tokra. Somebody engaged me 2 weeks ago because the power was out for 45 minutes in the person's house. As soon as it was out, the person called, "Hey, Napodum Kania." But this was the person who lost out of her business because under some previous government, for 4 years, he couldn't get electricity to do that. He couldn't pay for fuel for generation. Sometimes you wish that we could live that period for 1 month and come into this period so that people won't talk again. But I cannot wish that for Ghanaians. We want the lights to be on when you want it. When you switch prayer, it comes. When you switch off, it goes. But we want people to be more considerate in using energy efficient devices so that we don't waste power. But when you look at the system energy losses per the ECG document they gave me,
I've been joined by a member of the Mines and Energy Committee, Edward Bawa, who is also MP for Bongo, for more on this. I'm grateful for your time, Mr. Bawa. The last time we spoke, you alluded to this fact that has been made by the minister. Now the minister has confirmed that WAPCO is now holding our fate in terms of power supply. Should we be worried?
Thank you very much, Aisha. But I think that, yes, we should be worried not just because of the transportation of gas. That is just a small amount of the components that is needed to be able to make sure that our lights are on. Aisha, as we speak now, in terms of total indebtedness for power that we have consumed. We are inching around almost 15 billion Ghana cedis that we have not paid. WAPCO is just the one that just takes the gas and brings. Even with that, when we were asked to just do a minimum payment of 8.31, we could not do. That's the first point. The second part that we should even be more worried is the fact that from the beginning of the year up to today, as we speak, our dependable capacity now is 3,407. Meanwhile, 3,407. Meanwhile, at peak, we are consuming in the neighborhood of 3,561. As at Wednesday, 8:55, we did not have enough power to give to Ghanaians. So when you see that there are sections of the country going off between 6 and 10, it's because as we speak now, from the beginning of the year up till now, we have a power generation deficit, not only because of gas, but just simply that we do not have enough power. And so the minister must be candid and he should not create the impression that seems to suggest that, it is when there's rain and then somebody's power trips, then for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they start calling him. We have a problem. We had warned on this, but because they had moved on the tangent of excess capacity, they refused to put in contingency measures to ensure that we begin to start seeing how we can up our generation capacity. And as I speak, our growth rate in terms of power consumption is so high. We are doing around 12% annually, and we do not have a corresponding addition in terms of that. That is why for about 11 months now, we have had deficit in terms of generation. So when you see your lights off in your area, it is not a localized one. It is just that because of the lack of transparency of this government, they will not allow GRIDCO to publish a load shedding plan for Ghana. Because the moment they do that, then their rhetoric, like what the minister is saying, cannot hold. So they will bully GRIDCO not to do that. But currently we have a huge problem.
How do you react then to the minister's assertion that despite these challenges, the NPP government has managed electricity or power generation better than the NDC?
Look, under the NDC, did you ever hear that independent power producers were threatening to cut off because they were not paying them? Did you hear that gas transporting companies like WAPCO were threatening to cut or curtail the supply of gas because we're not paying them?
But there was doomsday during the NDC.
That one was because, and that is one of the things that the former president said very clearly. The doomsday, there was no occasion by the NDC. Indeed, the doomsday started somewhere around 2006. But because no government had the balls to be, excuse my language, but no government had the courage to be able to face it and deal with it, they never did. Until President Mahama came in 2012 and decided that, look, I was going to deal with this head on. And what did we do? We cleared that. As we speak, when he says that they have handled it better than us, at the time we're living, the total indebtedness of the whole energy sector, including the power subsector, was just about 2.4 billion. As we speak now, just to only IPPC alone, we owe them in the neighborhood of about 2.5 billion. We are not even talking about the petroleum sector. So when he says that they have handled the sector better than the NDC, I wonder what type of handling he's talking about. The NPP has been good at using PR to run this country. And I'm telling you, the rot in which we are seated in, and I will always indicate, and somebody once said, that I am not scared about what actually whoever is going to contest the NPP is. It is about what we'll discover when we come into power. The rot that we have not seen. It looks like a soil that is dried up for, but the rot is under. And that is the sort of problems that we are going to face. So the ministers should stop using PR to run that particular sector.
I'm grateful for your time. Edward Bawah is a member of the Mines and Energy Committee. Let's stay in Parliament.